Peace, 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 peace. Oh my gosh. Gotta get my area together. I always do this to myself, like for real. Like seriously. I don't know why I let ignorance get me aggravated when I know people just don't know no better because they stupid. And then they'll say something like, "Oh, that I thought that was common sense," but they thought my question was weird. Like, I mean, these some of the ignorant, smart people I be around sometimes. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, we're gonna play a song real quick and see who come in here before I get started because y'all know once I start, I don't want to go back. Let's just do that. This gonna be a real short one. I'm gonna read a little of this book. Y'all know all this reading be a whole bunch to deal with. So what we gonna do is just do a little reading today. Try to be out of here after reading a good little bit of information, and yeah, we're gonna take it from there.
Enemy of my child, opera mind, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? All my ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. Oh yeah, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche. Should've left me where I was, cause I ain't never scared. Took that little ice off my neck for this Earl head. My nation, my niche, someone thorough said. Real Americans, still pure blood, we thoroughbred. I'm like, let my people go and just take me instead. When it's red or blue pill, I'm only choosing red. I'ma always choose my people, you can keep that bread. Our government or a trillion, you can keep that bread. If it's one thing Jim Crow is showing me, I don't want no white folks ruling over me. I don't want no politicians ruling over me. I don't want no po-po ruling over me. Only somebody just like me gonna treat me like
only
me.
My people. They gonna start on this. Well, who's to say with that?
I'm from the hood, I'm still waking up my people.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
My people. When it comes to fashion, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to music, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to dancing, the whole world wanna be like us. Foreigners are doing everything, trying to weaken us. Of course, y'all can't fuck with us. Rhythm, know we killing y'all. Anything involve a ball. Mentally, we figured out
part of the cosmos.
Y'all is trying to take the asking y'all rights by blood after all. Vatican and the Smithsonian got all our shit. Artifacts and relics still keeping us away from it. When they say that was a long time ago, that's racist shit. Y'all holding and keep stolen shit. We don't need y'all holding it. Reverse engineering our technology, controlling it. Gave it everything you got, but you can't put no soul in it. I ain't go see the new Matrix cause I'm living it. Everything is not what it seems, but I'm killing it. Can you afford to pay attention who you living with? Now they trying to mandatory facts, but is you getting it? Fall back off my knees, I'm peeping y'all tactics. This ain't no earth war, this is galactics. Goddesses and gods warming up like practice. We gon' put arrows on your chest like that. Mongoloids can't style like us, them fake natives ain't wild like us.
Fake natives, they the aborigines.
Nobody power like us, nobody peace pipe like us. Boxing, y'all can't fight like us. Nobody lost their right like us. Wake them up, I'm in the way. Say too much, I'm in the way. They trying to kill us anyway, so listen what I'm finna say. Everybody, our kids, we raised y'all anyway. What they since he's finna say, everybody ain't here to stay. Issue with us or against us, ain't no in between. I'm a non-ether being, not a human being. Fucking 1492, but all my allies what it do. Renegade got clipped for days, be careful, I advise you to. Yeah, my tribe of opera mind, so what's happening? Government and
all people be your enemy.
My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. Oh yeah, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche.
We don't get one more in. Play my favorite. Get me in the mood. Hey, this that one right here.
Yeah.
The I bionic woman.
Honestly, I'm just looking for a feather girl, you know?
Attention, this one. That one.
Just gotta vision be ruling. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? Yeah, you bad. Yeah, you fine. I'm just trying to make you mine. You ain't worried about these pennies, girl, cause you know you're a dime. And I knew that I would have you, I just had to wait my time. Had to know you past looks, cause you know that love is blind. Met you at the powwow, asked you what's your tribe. You asked me, mom, we politicking, then we caught a vibe. So you rocking your feathers, you can say you caught my eye. From that moment, girl, I knew that I could probably make you bride. Girl, you the truth, shorty, what you wanna do? Come and be a winner. You know I can never lose. Wanna be a man now? Tell me what I gotta prove. You the realest, so that's why a nigga really fuck with you. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? Damn girl, you do that thing damn well. I know you indigenous, what's your tribe? I can't tell. Are you Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee? No interracial girl, I only fuck with chicks that look like me. I like a long hair, melanated vibe with no guidance. Shorty, I'ma be your guide. Let me show you how to live. It's not enough to just survive, and maybe have a couple kids if I end up between your thighs. For real. Intellectual convos about a book or something. That smirk emoji like you giving me that look or something. You keep it real like you carrying a hook or something. So if you want it, you got it. Ain't gotta look for nothing. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl?
Fire, 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 fire. Job breaks. Trey Ali, Thread 3000, King Azir. Brothers be bringing the fire. Always, always. Let's leave it up to the kings to do it, right? What else they gonna do but kill it? What else they gonna do, relatives? How y'all doing this afternoon? Ooh, it's so good to be over here with y'all. Get away from negative energy, all the hate. Oh my gosh, I was over there at Sir Drop panel. All the hate in the chat and all the confusion because people ignorant and don't know what they talking about. They acting like I'm stupid and I'm asking a dumb question about something. I'm just like, Lord, why won't I learn? Why won't I just stay away? All right, y'all, let's get into it. Um, this was confirmed by a senatus consult. But in later law, he could recover his freedom by restoring the price. This is saying 8, I believe. Is it, or is it 5-3? 5 I. Is the I the 3? I would assume. Yeah, it is. It's based, instead of it being a capital I in the Roman numeral that we see today, it's a small I. That's different. It's actually the V is too. I didn't even notice that at first. So generally, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys see this or noticing that. It says V. It says, hold on. It says VII, not Roman numeral VII. And that's not even showing the I like the capital I. But it should it you know when you're looking at the Roman numerals now, it always shows it that way. So it's not even showing it that way. It's showing the smaller case. Even under Justinian, the newborn children could be sold under pressure of poverty. under pressure. So if they hungry and they starving and they poor, let me just like they do now, huh? I guess that's nothing different. What we say about these adoption agencies, the child protective agency, they take these children. Tell them, oh, you can't take care of them. You're not a fit parent. You can. Oh, you did this around your child. I don't think you're deemed to be properly fit to take care of your child that you had. Are you freaking retarded? That goes on right now today. So the pressure of poverty, but with the perpetual right of redemption. So they can obviously come back just like now with the foster care, so on and so forth. The termination of slavery, manumission or release of the slave from slavery by some act of the master. It converted the slave into civis. Remember, we talked about civis before. Respect to his former master, he was said to be a libertus, but with respect to others, he was a libertinus. This took place in Vindicta for a fictitious claim. Oh, see, this is what happened. Read when you don't come right back like with the part two, because now I don't remember. We looked up the Libertus and the Limbertinus. I don't remember what it actually meant, but I know one was the outside people, like the court people, that they brought in from the other lands, and they were able to like basically adopt them in, kind of like we read in the other documents earlier today, where they were adopting the people in, and now they're part of their tribe. Like how retarded, they're not even your damn blood. This took place in Vindicta by a fictitious claim or censa by enrollment on the census. As we know, they were putting these people and replacing our and taking our names and putting their names, adding their names, doing whatever they want to do. In the third testamento by will. And it's probably due to the appreciation of the fact that it was alike good policy and morally praiseworthy to free a slave who had deserved it. Vindicta, the proceedings which took place before the praetor, but not necessarily in court, were as follows. The master and a friend who had agreed to be plaintiff in the proceedings, and it's called the adserter libertatis, appear with the slave. The adserter holding a wand, vindicta, hence the name of the action, claims not that the slave ought to be free, but that he is always and has been a free man. So, uh, huno ego humanian ex cure quartium laborum esse eo, which means I claim that this man is free according to the law of curates, and thereupon touches him with the wand. The master does not resist the claim, and the praetor thereupon adjusts the slave to be free. Later, the part of the adjuster libertatis is I should know how to say these words by now, right? Is is played by the praetor's lictor, and the master is released from all forming participation, probably even being just Justinian, and certainly under him. It was a valid manumisso vindicta in the master declared before the praetor. His intention to free the slave, no matter where, and even though done informally, census was taken by the censor every fifth year to determine the position of citizens in the serving centuries. Man, I'm tongue twisted today. Hold on a second. And for the purposes of the taxation. If the slave was enrolled by the censor with the consent of the master as a civis, it operated as manumission. This method disappeared with the census itself under this particular empire. So here is now we're going into the Third Testament. Here freedom was bestowed by a declaration to that effect in the master's will. And this might be done directly, in which the case a slave became libertus or porcinus, the libertus of the deceased testator, or it might be done indirectly by directing the heir or the legatee to free the slave, in which case he became the libertus of the heir or the legatee who freed him. Here, unlike the two preceding classes, the manumission might be subject to a condition, that is, some event both future and uncertain. If he serves by his heir faithfully for 5 years, or X die from a future point of time, which might be certain 5 years after my death, or uncertain when Balbus shall die. Here It is certain that Balbus must die, but not certain when. The effect was the same as if it had been a condition. Till the condition was satisfied, the slave was the uh, stataliber. But when the condition was satisfied, he could not be deprived of his liberty by any act of the air, assailed, and in prospect of the liberty and was to be his. He was protected against harsh conditions, torture, and such treatment. He could only be inflicted on the slaves. And such treatment as could only be inflicted upon the slaves. The above methods, which were the only methods of Cicero's time, were converted a slave into civis. All right, guys, get back over here just to check in with y'all. So you guys see that how that is still it's referencing it just like the Bible. That's what I want to say. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little distracted in my mind because I got to run out of here, and I'm trying to hurry up because I want to do some of this book today because I kept postponing this. But I got to do something else before I do the other life later. So when it comes to this, it's telling you how about the slaves and how these people came in. The masters were able to free them. Da 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 da. They were slaves in the church before the congregation. The Constantine permitted this, all this stuff, right? So the church and all of this stuff came into effect at the same time because they were all under the same thing. We always talk about government and church. So the government and church are the same thing. Church and governments, the same thing when it came to the rulings of even the what do you call it? I can't think right now. I don't want to get off track. But either way, this is what's going on. So let's finish this real quick because I'm thinking about three different things right now. The fact that the slave could act as his master's agent, not in a modern sense that he could affect his master with liability, but in the sense that the master could benefit by acquiring proprietary rights through his slave, or by taking any profit there might be under his slave's contract. So the melior condicio nostra per servos fiero potest deterio fiero non protest, which it says here in 4, the child of an ancilla was not regarded as fruit, like the young of animal. The child of ancilla, who the heck is ancilla, was not regarded as fructus. Who is ancillus in Roman law? Damn, I can't open it. I don't got enough room on my phone. God dang it. Let me see. Let me go to the Britannica. Okay. That is the law of property and possession. The Roman law today, as well as the Roman times, both land and movable property could be owned absolutely by the individuals. This concept of absolute ownership, which is dominion, basically. Okay. Let's see. That's what the ancilla is. It was not regarded as fruits for the young of animals. A slave could be instituted here for the benefit of his master, so he could use him as property, list them on the will and testament, like, hey, this is my property here, da da da, blah blah blah. That's kind of nuts. But if it's property, I guess that would be like any property. Looking at a person in the physical sense, like they're not even a real being. Like they're not even a real being. Okay. Criminal liability attached to slaves. In course of time, this the strict theory became materially modified. Though originally the master possessed absolute rights over his slave's body, It is impossible to suppose that in early Rome, these or the minor rights they implied were either generally exercised or abused. Slaves were few in number and corresponded rather to our domestic servants and farm laborers than to slaves in the modern sense, and they were probably well enough treated by their masters. But with the growth of Rome as a world power, the treatment of slaves changed. During the late Republic and under the empire, the number of slaves became immensely increased, chiefly owing to the number of prisoners taken in war. So prisoners of war are slaves. So just like now, the people in the prisons are slaves. And it was not at all uncommon in a time of horrors for all ordinary citizens to possess 200 slaves. Necessarily, the old domestic relations disappeared, and the increase of wealth and luxury with the resulting corruption and cruelty our own people having slaves led to the abuse of the master's strict rights under the empire. Therefore, legislation was found necessary for the protection of slaves by a lex patronia, which was passed sometime before AD 79. At this particular time, masters were forbidden to deliver their slaves to fight with wild beasts without a magistrate's order. By an edict of Claudius without a magistrate, or I'm sorry, by the edict of Claudius, slaves whom their masters abandoned as old or infirm thereby acquired their freedom. Hmm. Hadrian required the consent of the magistrate in all cases before death was inflicted. So they had to ask or get permission, and the court would say, "Oh, sure, you can kill a slave. Yeah, you can next Tuesday, next Wednesday, kill him. Don't kill him today, but yeah." Where masters have been guilty of such excessive, hold on, thing jumped up. Where masters have been guilty of such excessive severity, intolerant beatus, sa avitia, towards their slaves as to cause them to seek refuge in the temples or as the statutes of the emperor. Antoninus Pius required the magistrate after an inquiry to sell them to some more considerate people. So I guess they would say, hey, if the slave master was being abusive, okay, they can go to court and they'll say, well, we're going to take these slaves from you and we'll give them to somebody else that's nicer and still let them be enslaved. How kind. Um, Thus, in effect, the permitted slave to seek the protection of the law. So the slave had protection of the law. Go figure. How's that? And the same emperor provided that the provisions of the Lex Cornelius, whatever that thing is, 81 BC, which made the killing of a servus alienus homicide. So they changed it in 81 BC. So if they killed the slave, it was homicide. It wasn't just you killed your slave. This should be extended to me. It's the same thing now. When did this ever change? Even if they consider us slaves of war, prisoners of war right now, why would that change now? That's still a crime. It's homicide. When an officer, so-called officer, one of these actors, pretending to be a government official, and they're actually an actor, slays one of our black men, per se. They say black on crime. Should be extended to meet the case of the master who killed his own slave without cause. Q sin something something, all these long French, Roman, whatever they is. Under the Justinian, the master was restricted to the infliction of responsible chastisement only. He can only responsibly chastise the slave, which makes sense. They shouldn't have a slave at all. But I guess if you got them, don't beat them to death, right? But though the slave came thus to acquire immunity from being killed or grossly ill-treated, he could never personally assert such right or any other before the court. So he had no other rights, only that I can't be killed and I can't be ill-treated because I want to be alive. They want you to stay alive so you can keep serving somebody else, right? For while it was recognized from quite early times that a slave might have a peculium, i.e., which is certain property or money, so a slave was allowed to have property and money. Wow, this is new. This is new information to me. I don't know about to y'all. They might have a peculium, certain property or money, which he was allowed to enjoy personally. The endowment was de facto merely. The peculium belonged in law, like the slave himself, to the master. Oh my God. So he was able to borrow money to act like it was his, to act like he was doing something, had something, and go buy stuff. It's your stuff, but it was bought with the master's money. Go figure. Who could resume possession at any moment so he can come at any time and get mad at you? Give me all this stuff you went and bought. I know I said it was yours, but it's mine now because it was bought with my money. The slave might be authorized by his master to employ the peculium in trade. The profits, of course, accruing to the master. Under empire, this peculium was extended to earnings made by the gifts to the slave. They have largely exercised their right to resume possession. And we find slaves purchasing their freedom through their masters with their peculium. Do you hear this? I'm going to purchase my freedom by working my way off from you through you and pay you off for my freedom. Imagine that type of life. Imagine a feeling like that. And imagine being in these people's face with, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes. Imagine having to do that shit every day. Like, for real. Like, people be wanting you to do, bow down to them. It's, whatever. On being freed, a slave took his peculium in the absence of express agreement to the contrary, so at least they could take it with them when they were free. Subject to what may be called the slave's moral right to his peculium. Everything the slave acquired, he acquired for his master. Everything he acquired for his master. Accordingly, if on a sale, for example, a horse or land is legally transferred to the slave of Mavius, the ownership at once vests in Mevis, item vobis, ad curator, quad something, I don't know, hoc octine, something else, I don't know. And the principle is not confined to things transferred to the slave or a change of ownership on a sale, but extends to things merely in his possession. So that if the possession ultimately ripens into ownership under the rules of jus suscepio, the master benefits by the mere possession of his slave. In the case where a slave belongs to one master by a bare legal title to another in bonus, the latter alone profits. Further, if the master were entitled merely to a usufruct or a life interest in the slave, only what the slave acquired by means of anything belonging to the master, ex re nostra, or by the slave's own labor, ex peria suis, belonged to the master. So, if Titus has a usufruct in a slave, the medius, the dominium, the bulbus, leaves the slave a legacy. So is this the story? Is this the story about how they? I got the 40 acres and a mule. My master gave me the land and all this stuff because that's what this is saying. So maybe for some of these people that came here as slaves, that possibly did happen. The lands that they took from us, they would give them to the slave or leave to them, act like it was their property. Mavis takes the not tidiest for the legacy accrued by the slave, neither by means of anything belonging to Titus, nor by the labors or of the slave. A slave being a human, we know a slave being a human means they're not talking about us. Oh my gosh, do y'all see this? This says a slave being a human. So who are the humans? We're not the humans, right? If we're not the humans, what they telling you? They telling you that they the humans. That's a clarification right there that we were not slaves. Because if we were slaves, he would say, man, how many of them, we don't read too many old books for us not to sleep on this part right here. Hold on, y'all, let's focus. Remember in the books, what did it say? It always referred to us as oh gosh, I'm about to say the wrong thing. And I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let me get it right, y'all. My mind all over the place. Hold on. It doesn't say, man, somebody put it in the chat. We just went over this morning. Come on now. I don't know why my mind's slipping. It's on the tip of my tongue. When a person, we're the people first off, but the people is in reference to us. I think I was talking to sis and I was saying, man, sis said, no, we're not men. We're something else. I can't even think right now, guys. I want to finish this, but either way, they are the humans. Humans. Okay, because we are light beings. We're light beings. We're beings. Lord, I couldn't even think right quick. But we're light beings, basically. Us being light beings, it would have said something different. It would have said man in reference to us being the light beings. It would have said man or something of the sort. I can't remember. It was in the other books, guys. The other book, I will have to go back and check this. I'll clarify this with y'all if I remember, and I'll put it in the comments after this video. But I believe it was something in reference to that. So this is clarifying that these had to be Slavs and African people as well that were coming over, and these are the people that they're talking about here because it says a slave and it says being a human being might, as a fact, make an agreement either with his master or some third person. Who is a third person? That would be the court. Would they make the agreement with the court? Would they be making it with some binary contractual agreement, some type of seance ritual or something going on? I don't know. It could sound like that either way. In neither case did the agreement amount to a contract in the strict sense, because the slave could neither sue or be sued upon it. But if made with a third person, the latter incurred a civil obligation which the slave's master could enforce and so secure the benefit of the promise. The master, though not civilly liable on such a contract, was made liable by the Creator by means of an actio adjectio qualitatis, where there was a peculium. And three, in any case, the slave's contract gave rise to natural obligations, which, like our contracts of imperfect obligation, though not enforceable by law, though not enforceable by law, were not, God dang, were not without legal consequence. I should have told that door. This microphone is so loud. I listened to one of the videos earlier, one of the videos I did, I think the other day or something. I was just replaying it while I was doing something. And something was going on in the background. I think when I had the babies over there, I'm like, dang, I know that noise be so loud. This microphone is freaking loud. Let me turn it down because that might have just messed with y'all ears. I probably have it like extremely loud. It's not that loud, but it sounded so loud. Um, and natural obligations with like our contracts of imperfect obligation, though not enforceable by law, were not without legal consequence. Suppose a master contracting the obligation with resulting in a debt due his slave, the obligation to pay with naturalis, and could not be sued on. But if the master freed the slave and paid the debt, and afterward repenting, tried to get it back, the natural obligation sufficed to defeat him, and the slave took his peculum. And the case would be the same had the debt been contracted and paid by the third party. So I remember reading some of this information that sounds very familiar with this earlier. Peace, brother, peace. Um, yeah, I remember reading something of the sort with this earlier. Let's see. With regard to civil wrongs or delects, a slave might be wronged either by his master or by a third person if by his master he had no legal redress. Interesting. I'm gonna fast forward, y'all. Let's see what we could find in this Roman law that's more pertaining to something we're interested in right now, because this is getting a lot of the past. Oh, woe with me type shit, and I ain't feeling it. Okay, let me see. The child was moving home. What is this? If the father gave himself in adjugation to another citizen, the last mentioned acquired patria potesta over the children. Also, the sale of a child in municipi causa, but in the case of a son, three sales were necessary. What is this talking about? Is remember that the free persons in municipia causa are included in familiar, and so we shall consider them next. This status might arise if, under the ancient law, a pater familias sold his son into slavery at Rome. Dang. If trans-Tiberian, he would seem to have been a service proper, because the status in Mana Sipa Casa was peculiar in Rome. Dang, they would be coming to Rome and selling their kids by being fictitiously sold as a slave during the process of adoption or emancipation. By being given up in Nazi dedito by his pater familias, by the paternity side, the father. If a woman, by means of fictitious sale by her campsionator as a preliminary to divorce, achieve the chief differences between a slave proper and a person in Municipia Casa were that the latter retained, though in a latent form, full civil rights. Okay. Being freed, he became ingenuus, which is a slave, and not libertinus. Neither the lex ali sena nor the lex futa senania restricted the manumission of such a person in the time of Agaius, a master who subjected a person in municipia. Hmm. In municipia causia, what is this? To insulting treatment was liable to the action injurium. On the other hand, a person in municipia causa was like a slave because he was incapable of entering into legal obligations. His acquisitions occurred to his master. His children were probably in ancient times also quasi-slave, though the law had become modified in this respect by the time of Gaius. His master could alienate him as a quasi-slave to another, either in vitios. I guess he was talking about, trade them off through the court. It's like a piece of property, like a car, a vehicle, a home. You know what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like. If the person were unlawfully taken away from him, reclaim him by a vindicatio, a real action, and in a proper case, bring the actio furti for the theft. So it's saying if they stole him, so he could get him back. To free him, the same means were necessary as the case of the service proper. Yeah, these books, all these pages, Lord, and it's just some of this stuff is not really important. Let me see. Manus justice. Manus was the relationship under the old law between husband and wife. Manus. Okay, Manus was the relationship between the old law between husband and wife by virtue in which the wife, on marriage, left her old agnatic family, dang, and became a member of her husband's agnatic family, so as to pass under the power of the head of that family, thus standing to her husband, if he happened to be himself the head of his family, in the position of a daughter. Man is therefore being but an incident of marriage may conveniently be considered under that heading. That's weird. Is this saying that they could be labeled as their daughter? That's weird. Isn't that weird? Like I'm not really feeling that. I don't know what they're talking about. Why would the wife be labeled as the daughter? That doesn't make sense. The wife being labeled as a daughter. What kind of freaky nonsense they had going on? Okay, let me see. Juste nupia, how created. That's how created. For a marriage to amount to justa nupia, such a marriage as would give rise to patria potestas over the children and other issues during through males or such marriage, the following conditions had to be satisfied. Hold on, guys. This weather clearing up. I'm so glad, but oh my gosh, I'm going through with these signs even worse than before. Okay, because the pineapple juice trying to get something going. Had to be satisfied. Okay. Each party must have conabium, the capacity to contract civil marriage, giving rise to patia potestas over the children. Otherwise, the marriage could, at the best, be but matrimonial jure gentium, the children being legitimate but not in potestate civis, and those Latins and peregrini to whom it had been granted alone had canabium, where there was canabium, but marriage between the parties was was barred, and the connubium has been conveniently distinguished as relatives. Such bars were consanguineous or blood relationship marriage being prohibited within certain degrees. Ooh, thank goodness. And affinitas or marriage of relations and marriage with a daughter-in-law, marriage with a daughter-in-law or a mother-in-law. So you're gonna marry a daughter-in-law or mother-in-law, Lord. That's permitted. Okay. Adoptive relationship, marriage with an adopted daughter, even after the tie of adoption had been severed, or with a sister by adoption, but only during the continuance of the tie. On grounds of public property, a senator could not marry a freed woman or an actress. A freed woman or an actress. Till Justinian. The term matrimonium juris gentium, not found in the sources, has been used by modern civilians without justification to describe a union between a man and a woman who regarded themselves as husband and wife, but falling short in some respects of the requirement of justia nuptia. For the whole subject, see Professor Corbett's article in the Law Quarterly Review or something. So I'm not familiar with that professor and not interested in what he said. So that's neither here nor there. So let's see. Let's get back to this. Set the example as regards the letter and permitted it, nor a Jew, hold on. Let me go back and read that over again. Set the example as regards the latter and permitted it, nor a Jew, a Christian, a tutor, or curator, his ward, the governor of a province, a woman of his province. In all the above cases, a union between the parties would be nullity. After Caracalla has bestowed civitas, which of course included connubium, on all free subjects of the empire. This condition became of small importance. So after a while, they was like, oh, forget it, it don't matter. Jews can marry Christians, tutors with curators, teachers and moms. I mean, it's all kind of shit. Each party must consent. If either party were alienate juris, the consent of the pater familias was necessary. Each must be pubis, 14 for a male, 12 for female. They must have reached puberty to create a manus to be married. So the girls could be married at 12. This is that just sick stuff. To create manus, the marriage had to be celebrated either by conferiato tio or comptio, or to rise by usus. Conferiatero, Conferitario was a religious ceremony, and originally, only patricians could avail themselves of it. A cake of spelt, which was Farius Panis, was offered to Jupiter. Oh, so they had to do rituals and all this other shit. And certain sacramental words, I ain't gonna say them, were spoken before 10 witnesses, the pontifex, Maximus, and the flamen dealis assisted in the ceremony. So they had all kind of rituals, all this other stuff going on with what they were doing with these so-called marriages. Now, didn't I tell y'all that? Didn't I tell y'all that marriage was a ritual? How many times I gotta tell y'all? People think I'm playing. Marriage is a ritual. If a lot of times people are thinking they're doing the right thing, but what happens is when you marry a person, it locks you into a binding contract. It's not so much that you're opposed to a contract with the person you love, obviously, but it binds you in a contract with these people. You know, it binds you in a contract. You have to, do too many different things, and there are certain rituals that are performed over these marriage licenses. They're just able to use it in law for, certain things that they can use for, like using you to purchase things and so on and so forth behind that certificate number. Because just like your birth certificate number has value, so does the marriage license. And you're not even the person that's taking advantage of that. That's what's really crazy. Okay, where were we at? Assisted with the marriage. Somebody assisted with ceremony. Uh, Coim Tio was the civil and plebeian marriage and consisted of a fictitious cell. I ain't finna read all that. Before five Roman citizens as witnesses and the Librians, the Librarians. It would appear from the account given by the Gaius that the husband bought the wife, Emmett and something, either from her pater familias, which was the father, the paternal side, Ferrero and Manam. I don't even know what they're talking about. I don't care about that. Okay, or her tutor, but it had been contended that each bought the other. Uses in the is the acquisition of the wife by possession and bears the same relationship. I'm sorry, the same relation to Camptio as usucapion to emancipation. A Roman citizen who bought some object of property and got possession of it, but not ownership, because he neglected to go through the emancipation that was prescribed by the Justitos. They might nevertheless become owner by Iusha Capion. The lapse of time, the lapse of time. Thus, if the object was a movable, continuous possession for 1 year, made him dominious. In like matter, if a man lived with a woman whom he treated as his wife, but whom he had not married by conceptio or conferioto, and the cohabitation lasted without interruption for a year, then at the year end of that period, that man acquired ownership of the woman as his wife. The man acquired ownership of the woman as his wife if he did not marry her, and she continued to live with him. If they're saying he owns her now he owns her. Lord, if that shit don't sound stupid. She passed to him in manum, and the marriage was treated as just a nuptia. As above stated, in early times, only a marriage contracted in one of these three ways and so producing manus was treated as a marriage in the true sense. But as early as the 12 tablets, an informal marriage was, as a fact, possible for a provision of that law, in effect declared that although a man lived with a woman whom he treated as his wife and so lived for a year, nevertheless, manus should not arise if the wife were absent from home for 3 consecutive nights. Mm-mm. It is unlikely that in recognizing this principle, the frames of the 12 tablet were introducing any novelty, since it was always regarded as of the essence of uh, usa capian, that there should be no break in the possession, that it should be uninterrupted. The 12 tablets, it would seem, at most definitely settled that. Okay. What do y'all think about that? What's going on, chat? What's up with my chat? What's up with the chat? How my people doing? How y'all doing? Tribe ties. Big Chief. What's going on, Big Chief? Bro said back then, a wife was considered a child-in-law, meaning incompetent. And that's why it said that he owned her. Okay, what I just read. Thanks, bro. So she was considered a child. She was incompetent, just like they do us now. So it's like, shit, everybody married. Shit, we all married. We all the wives, huh? Let them tell it. They the husband over everything, the rulers, the gods, which is absurd. Yes, bro. Yes. Yes, exactly. I am not your daddy. Say that. Wish a nigga would be telling some call me daddy. Shit, nigga, what you finna do? Rock me to sleep? Shit. What I look like? That ain't what we going to bed for. Matrimonial Latin. Bro said that's mid Latin. Matrix is the matriarch. The matrix is the womb. The womb is the matrix. The matrix is the womb. Take it back to the ionic ether. Yeah. Double tap back enough and you will see matrix in the subsources. Oh, you want me to go back, bro? Okay, hold on a second. Let me see what you're talking about, bro, because I ain't see what you said. I wasn't in the chat. I'm on the other page, guys. Let me see. You said double. Okay. Okay. The term matrimonial jury is not found in the sources, has been used by modern security agencies. very without justification to describe a union between a man and a woman who regarded themselves as husband and wife, but falling short in some respects of the requirements of justia nuptia. For the whole subject, see professors such as okay, maybe we're talking about before this. Let me see. But the rights of the father might revise by the fiction of the postman. Okay. I don't see it, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't see what part you're talking about. You probably talking about when I was way back, bro. I like literally clicked up like I was on page earlier. We were on page like somewhere around like 40 or 30 maybe or something. And now I went up to like 100 or something. I literally just skipped up. I don't even know what I went to. I just started skipping and said we're gonna start getting through it because there ain't no way I'm gonna read 500-page book. So I said let's just get to through this stuff. We can read. I shared this page. Oh, let me share it again. Let me share this again, guys. This is the book that we are reading now. Here's another shareable one. I said I'm gonna start remembering to do it as soon as I get a chance to remember. When I come in, if I do it, I'll remember. Okay, this is the book right here, guys. So y'all can check this one out too. That's another very, very good one. We've only been in this book maybe like 3 times. This is like our third time in this book, so that's why I'm trying to make sure I read some of it today because I was gonna do some yesterday. I didn't do it yesterday, and I said I was gonna do it this morning. Then I postponed it because I went in this morning with that other video that I felt was so freaking important, and we're gonna do part 2 of that today if I don't get to it this afternoon, guys, because I am about to do something, but. I should be back. If I don't be able to get back to it this evening, we'll definitely do it tomorrow early morning. So y'all be looking for it either way, either this evening, maybe even late night. I probably will do it later. I'm gonna be out late. It's not like I'm partying. Okay, so let me see. I didn't see it, bro. I'm sorry. I didn't see what you was talking about. If you marry, if you're married today, a woman is seen as sister-in-law. That's how they join the families, right? But they were saying that you can marry the sister-in-law though, or something. I'm like, what are they talking about? Peace, brother. Peace. I don't know what they talking about. Oh, we got a bot in the chat. Let's get rid of them. I don't know where they came from. I ain't seen a bot in a couple of days. Oh, the patriarch is a prince. Oh. See, I'm getting a whole different understanding from not knowing what they're speaking on with these older terms. I wish one of y'all had I had seen this. I'm trying to stay over here and see. It's just so small when I'm reading it from here. Okay, let me see. Yes. The matrix is the womb. Dead ass. Yeah, bro. You already know the matrix is the womb. Period. There's no question. There's no question. Yeah, this book right here, guys, the Roman Law book. Okay. This is what relates to the person. Yeah, we're going up on an hour, y'all. I want to try to get back so I can get into the other book. I'll still do another. I'm not going to end this. We're going to do some more of this, but I'm going to try to read a little bit more where we were at. Let's see, at least finish this part. On this page, right there. Continuous position of it. From a citizen who bought some object or put the possession. Mary, I think we read that part. She passed him something. Okay. As above stated, in early times, only a marriage contracted in one of these 3 ways and so produced manners was treated as a marriage in the true sense. But as early as the 12 tablets, an informal marriage was in fact possible for the provision of the law that is in effect declared that although a man lived with a woman whom he treated as his wife and so lived for a year, nevertheless, manners should not arise if the wife was absent from the home. Okay, I did read all this. Okay, I forgot I went back a couple of pages to see if I seen what I was talking about. Is this one? Let me see. Did we read this? Help that person born in parents who have married in their car. That doesn't look right. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I find something else a little interesting for this last few minutes of our read. Marriage without manners. In this case, the consequences were wholly different. If at the time of the marriage the woman were subject to potestas, she After the marriage continued in the eye of the law under the protesters, if she were sugerious, all males' ancestors had died. Mm. But under tutela, she remained under tutela until the time when the tutela perpetua became obsolete. After the disappearance of the tutela, the woman, although married, had a complete legal status of her own. Okay, and could acquire property, enter into obligations, and bring actions just as a man could. Okay, gifts between husbands and wives, apart from thrifting exceptions, were void, partly as a protection to the wife and partly to the interest of the creators. Having this independent status, her property was necessarily, as we should say, her separate property, and her husband had no right in regard to it apart from private agreement. All right, now, this fact led to the institution of a marriage settlement, dose, which, together with the corresponding Danotio Propter Nuptias, may be briefly described in this place. So she was able to keep everything private from him or from the husband. I don't know how I feel about that because, like, I think you're supposed to like what is mine is yours, yours is mine. Definitely what's yours is mine. No, they stop. I believe that the man really should take care of the woman. I'm gonna be quite honest. I can't see my so-called man doing doing what he needs to do and handling bills and things of that nature. And then he come to me and saying, "Oh, okay, I need some help on the bills because I don't know how to handle this because I don't know how to be responsible and take care of what I need to with these bills." Now, if it's a certain requirement, like, "Oh, babe, I pay this bill. Can you handle this or can you buy this or whatever? But I handle these major bills or whatever." No problem, I got you. But if a person can't be responsible enough, that says a lot about the person. I just think a man's supposed to do that. I think a man's supposed to be responsible, take care of his woman. How you gonna ask a woman to be with you and you can't take care of her? How do a man step to a woman and say he wants to love her, care for her, take care of her? What are you gonna do? Just hold me in your arms all night? I ain't with it. No, bro. No, no, absolutely not. I've been hearing sisters talk about, oh, you know, he don't want to do this. He don't want to get a job. He don't want to get a job. Why are you even with him? He should have a job. If you don't have a man that's responsible enough to have a hold down a job, you don't even need to be with him. Period, because he don't even have enough self respect and dignity. Any grown man, it's no way he ain't gonna have a job. There's no way he's not gonna have no job. No responsible man would not be. He wouldn't even feel right. He'd be sitting like, man, I'm twiddling my thumbs. I ain't doing nothing with myself. Any grown man would go crazy not having a job. That's facts. So if he ain't got a job, man, please, you shouldn't even be stepping to him. So if you got a job and you're not able to take care of me, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what's wrong with some of you sisters. All this what's that feminist movement? Honey, I'm feminine. I'm definitely feminine. But I'm not a feminist. And I'm not gonna be sitting back and trying to, oh, I'm a man and I can do just what a man do, this, and that. I can handle my business as a woman because I'm gonna handle my business, but I don't try to do things, propose myself to be like a man or put myself in a position as a man. If I'm in a relationship, you better know how to be the man because I don't need to be the man for you. If I need to be the man for you, I don't need you. Like, for real. That's like not even the game I play with nobody. I've been like that since I was like young when I first started dating. My first boyfriend, I was 18. My first real boyfriend was 18 years old. And it was a man. I mean, shit. He was 19, but he was a grown ass man. He was in high school. He was a senior, and I was a senior. But he worked. He went to school. He worked. He had his own car. He paid his own bills. What? What? Some of my friends, they be sitting around there talking about, oh, complaining about they little guy, whatever, they laying up, sleeping and all that stuff. I wasn't even doing none of that. I wasn't even worried about laying up and doing all that at the time, you know. And they just letting somebody treat them any kind of way. With ladies, you got to start having enough value within yourself and putting it in your girls. It's not about like the tricking off or this and that. They're trying to say, oh, women always trying to sell themselves. They're gold diggers. What does it have to do with being a gold digger? It has to be with being with a responsible man. That don't mean that if my man gets sick or he at work and something happened to him, he can't work anymore. He done lost his job and he's out of work now. I fit the bill. Now I get 2 jobs if I need to. I'm gonna take care of me and boo. You feel me? Because I know what my man gonna do if he was able bodied. You feel me? It's a difference. Like I don't know. It's certain things is different. Certain things is different. That's all I'm saying. Right, bro. Bro said his last comment is listen. Yes, bro, definitely. I love y'all for real. Y'all everything. You already know. I'll tell y'all enough. I'm not trying to let y'all know enough, but I can say it again. I love y'all to death. Y'all is awesome. Y'all is everything. Y'all energy be everything. Y'all be on point. Y'all be keeping me on point. Just like I ain't even know Tribe Ties was in the building. I didn't even see him come in. And up there is something you just said when I came over. I'm like, oh, perfect answer. Just what we just had the answer right there for me. Come on now, y'all know y'all be right on the frequency. Y'all on my vibe. Y'all on my vibe. Y'all on my vibe. Feeling it. That's right. A man's supposed to take care of his family, bro. Come on now. That's a man. We know Tony Thurdo is a man. That's what you're supposed to do. Come on now. You look telling me, oh, honey, let me have your hand in marriage. Well, dang, baby, you got something for this hand to lay down in? You got a house and a this and that, and da 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 da. You feel me? Like, what you got, boo? Makes no sense. Of course, you're gonna have something in your little dowry or something in the side, like they said. You know what I'm saying? To be ready and prepared. Because see, that's what a woman's supposed to do. A woman's supposed to have, things prepared. If she don't have like cash on hand, she got a way to handle things. She know some kind of way to get resources pulled in so she can handle that business. That's what a woman do. She's supposed to have the man back. So if something go wrong, da 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 da, she got his back. But he's supposed to be the one with the strong back. I need to be able to jump on the back and hold on if I need to. I'm tired, bro. I'll rub your neck and your shoulders a little later, but right now, just hold me. You feel me? Come on now. Y'all better know. Yeah, guys, we done pushed up on this hour. I really wanted to read a little bit more. But yeah, I definitely do got to get out of here. But I'll be back in about 2 hours, guys. We definitely gonna get into part two of what is it, Lord? I don't know how I can forget. It's so many things going on through my mind, guys. When we were talking about this morning, we had the part two. We were going into the doctrines of discovery. So we're going to be going into the finalized part two, which is the Indian Act of 1876. So that's what we're going to be doing in a little bit. So yeah, give me time to rest my throat too, guys. I'm telling you, y'all don't know how bad. I don't know if y'all have sinuses or anybody's ever had tonsillitis type issues, but man, this weather has my sinuses like horrible. Yeah, it's getting clearer now. When I moved here around March last year, it was pretty good. Everything was really, really great with my sinuses. So I'm surprised that winter made it so much different. But it's starting to the weather's changing. I'm just hoping it's for the best. But y'all know it's nothing but love. But we're gonna read. We're gonna read some more later, guys, and it's going to be on the rest of that information. And actually, that document of discovery information we were going over with the Indian Act that was left, it was only like, let me see, I think it was like 3 pages. It was like 3 pages. There's some other information I'm going to read on that Indian Act, that same information, obviously. I want to read a little bit on the Christian doctrine of discovery, the description, things of that nature. So that'll be brief. So what I'll be able to do, we will also do this. So later on, we'll get into that part two, get into the reading of the Indian Act. After we complete that, then we can get back into reading a little bit of this. So I'll leave this page up where it is until later. I got sis. You know what's? Let me show you this. Y'all probably think I'll be playing. I got every. Sis, you're gonna be like, I always do this too. I do this to myself a lot of times. Look, sis. Look, see? I sell it. I sell my Lily too. I told you I'll be having everything. I'll be having every freaking thing. I'm gonna make me some when I come back, sis. That's what I'm gonna do. I've made tea earlier, and then I made tea early. I didn't make mullein tea, but I made tea early, sis. And I drank that, and I felt better. That mullein tea, a lot of times, what happens is it'll bring up a lot of phlegm. And to be honest, my back been bothering me a little bit. So I've been smoking booth. I don't know if y'all know I was a little turned up early. Sis was like, "Sis, is you okay?" I'm like, "Girl, shoot." But anyway, so when I smoke, I be having a lot of phlegm like in my chest or something. So when I take the when I use the mullein leaf, man, that thing had me coughing up phlegm. One day I was just talking to somebody, all of a sudden it just started coming up. I almost choked to freaking death because I have sinus issues due to some reconstruction in my nose area. So yeah, it's a lot going on over here, babe. Like I know the mullein leaf would be great, but man, trying sometimes getting stuff up, it be kind of bad for me because it comes all up and my sinus cavities the other way, and you know, um, shoot up. I actually almost choked before off the phlegm. So yeah, I got to be careful just because of the physical issues I had with this injury I have. But thank you for saying that, sis. Thanks, babe. Gordeloba. I'm not familiar with that one though, sis. Now, actually, to be quite honest, babe, I hadn't heard of that before. Gordeloba. Let me write that down. I'll check it out. Maybe I'll try that. That might actually be good. And it might not be as severe as the mullein leaf or as strong or potent for bringing it up. It might bring it up in a different way because some things aren't as potent. The mullein leaf is very potent. Um, Gordeloba. Unless you're talking about that's a brand. Is the Gordeloba a brand, sis? Or is that the particular tea like mullein is the herb? Let me know, babe. But I'm going to check it out anyway. All right, guys. Love you guys. Peace, love, blessings. Until later. And I'll